Hello, test. Well, greetings, everyone. It's that time again for yet another homemade piece of clothing. The pants I made about 3 or 4 or 5 videos ago, I've lost track now, were very nice and warm and comfortable and colorful, and quite a few people said they really liked them. So I'm going to try another such pair. I found this delightful fabric on sale online. Now, it's interesting, when you try to buy fabric online, you don't really know what you're going to be getting. Normally, when you go to a fabric store, you can feel and kind of just get a good idea of what the fabric would be like on yourself when you wear it. You know, fabric is more than just looks. It's also about feel. So you take risks buying online. So I figure if I buy 10 pieces of fabric and 2 of them are utterly and totally useless, well, you know, that's the risk. And I can put those to good use. I could take them to the local homeless camp. The people can wrap themselves in them. Or if they're really raunchy, it may not do justice to take them to the homeless camp. I would either just leave them on our local bus stop bench and they'll be gone, or I would use it as a rag when I'm cleaning the sewing machine or cleaning my welding work, whatever. So anyhow, let's see what we've got here. This is a nice, soft, kind of turquoise fabric. It's quite heavy, feels quite comfortable and warm. So I'll probably be using that one. This is quite a heavy beige, light brown fabric. This is probably used for institutional upholstery. Like if you go to your local, well, it's even too nice for a doctor's office because it's not plastic. And these days, doctor's offices have to be careful. So maybe a restaurant, or, you know, it's too nice to be used in your local Greyhound bus station, but a restaurant, maybe the lobby of a decent hotel or something like that. So maybe, yeah, it may be a bit thick for the serger. I don't know yet. So that is going to be a possibility. Now this fabric, this is Tapestry upholstery fabric. This is much too nice to be used in an institution, except maybe the waiting area or the lobby of a really, really nice hotel or a guest house. Problem with this is, if you spill something on it, it may not be removable. And to be frank with you, I forgot if I pre-washed this, but you know, I like to take risks. I need to tell you, one time there was a piece of fabric in some clothing I made I did not pre-wash. It happened to be wool, and it was sewn in the sides of my pants, here, and here. And I put the pants together, and then I blissfully, without thinking, started to wear them riding my bicycle to and from work in Portland when I used to work for Intel Corporation. And of course, at some point I had to toss them in the wash, and I wasn't thinking. Now, you have to understand that when during my previous incarnation, when I was working, I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning to ride my bicycle 20 miles to work to get to the office at 6:30 in the morning with the privilege of working out in their gym for an hour, so then I could be ready to be sitting at my desk at 7:30 in the morning after a quick shower there. So, and I've gotten the knack of getting up and getting dressed in total darkness without turning any lights on. So I lay out everything I want to wear the next day at bedside the previous evening. So at 4:30, I get up, grab everything, I know where it is, grab everything, put it on, do a quick trip to the bathroom, drink a couple of glasses of water, and I've got it down to a science where I can be from pillow to bicycle in about 15 minutes to at most a half an hour without turning any lights on except for the headlight on my bicycle and the blinky in the back. Well, when I put the shorts on, I thought they felt funny, but I ignored it. Put the shorts on, put the shirt on, get on the bike, and boogie woogied on to work. So I got to the Intel Corporation Jones Farm campus where I worked. I walked into the gym, and people started to look at me a little strange. I said, well, am I naked? No, I'm not naked. Am I turned black and blue or green from Mars or, I don't know, ultraviolet from the planet Venus? I don't know. So I looked down and realized that the wool had shrunk. So the sides have shrunk, but nothing else. So the pants were being pulled up on the side, something like this. I was totally unaware of this, riding the bicycle 20 miles to work. It was dark. It was in wintertime when it didn't get light until 7 in the morning. But I didn't know about it until I got to work. Now, I think, fortunately, now I don't know. I remember having no choice but to wear them because sometimes I have a spare change of clothes at work for rainy days. I don't think I did that day. So I had to wear those funny shorts all day at work. And yes, people looked at me very strangely at meetings. So that's the story of wool without being pre-washed. This is not wool. So I think even if this does shrink, it's not going to cause the embarrassment that did. Now, obviously, I'm retired now, so if I look funny, it's not as critical to my career as it was when I was working. Now, here, this is great fabric. This is actually the second garment I would be using this fabric for. This is nice, soft, again, heavy upholstery grade fabric. Very nice. This would be for a chair or a sofa at home, or maybe in the lobby of a guest house, something like that. Much too nice to be in a doctor's office, and God's sake, much, 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 much too nice to be in a bus station or, oh God. And I don't even think about putting something like this on upholstery in an airport with the animals that go through the airport. Now, but that's a whole nother discussion. So they'll be using this. So what I'm going to do now, I think. Oh, the other thing I want to try doing a little differently. As you know, the edges of the seam has to be run through the serges and they won't fray. I'm going to try an experiment. This, let me try the other camera. This is called instant vinyl. It's normally used to seal the clear plastic for my raincoats, but I think if I run it gently along the edge of fabric that's cut, and I use it in a seam, I should not have to serge it. I won't do it for the long ones that I run on the serger, but for the little bitty ones, it might do it. So let's try right now. I'm going to start with is to cut a strip of this fabric and a strip of this fabric to make the long center strips of the pants and see if that is feasible with this weight fabric. So right now I'm going to turn the camera that's on this table on, There we are. That's the cutting table with all the different fabrics. I'm going to take the ones I'm not going to cut and I'm going to set them aside. And right here, get these out of the way. That's what I'm going to do. Just I won't cut them accidentally. I'm going to put them on the chair behind me. All right. No, I forgot I got to change my microphone. Okay, now we get the microphone that's on the cutting table. Hopefully the sound will be better now. I had horrible sound before because the cheap microphone in the computer doesn't do well to pick up sound in the room. So, whatever I cut, I have to make 2 of each, 1 for each side, because I like my work to be symmetrical. So let's do this. And the strips don't. So I'm going to cut 2 strips of this fabric here. Now you don't have to be as long as my leg because I'm going to take the strip I make out of this fabric and sew it to the strip I make out of this fabric. It's going to be a combined strip. So let's go ahead and cut this. Something like that. And now I'm going to take the straight edge here, kind of eyeball it, and I'm going to take the cutting wheel. Now many of my cuts I don't use a pair of scissors, I use a wheel. It can be more accurate and a lot faster than a pair of scissors. Now I guess you can't see that very well, but let's just move that up a little bit like that. And we cut the first edge with something like that. Okay, then we do okay, so that's one side. Oops, it looks like I missed a section right there. Well, now the strip, and we make the strip, make it 4 inches. Let's see, make it 4 inches wide, which means we have to allow for a 1/2 inch on either side for seam allowance. So we're going to do a cut of 5 inches wide. So it's going to be something like that. Now, I am not one to be super accurate because my attitude is if it's small enough, you will not notice it from 10 feet away when you walk past me on the street. So, here we are. Oh, still is. Sometimes the rotary cutter misses a few threads here. Okay. Before I cut this in half, I'm going to serge both sides of it. Okay, we're going to still serge the sides of it. It's just the short runs we'll try to use with the glue. So I'm going to go to the camera at the serger, which is over here, and go on the microphone with the serger, which is that one right there. Hello. Yeah, look, that's still working. Hello. Yeah, that looks promising there. Way up there, but okay. So now this is where I'm a little bit worried. This is awfully heavy fabric, and I guess if I'm not careful here, I could break a needle on the serger. Now, 5 years owning this machine, which is an industrial serger, I have yet to break a needle, but normally I don't use fabrics that are this heavy. Very thick, it's got a very thick pile. It's almost like very thin carpeting, but it's not carpeting. It's meant for furniture. So it's very soft. It's meant to be used on a sofa that you would take naps on. I mean, every house has a sofa or a chair that you can take naps on. That's probably where this fabric would be used. Very soft, beautiful, warm fabric. So, okay, let's see. I got one side done. I just wish, now they only had it in this one combination of colors, I could tell. It would be nice to find this kind of pattern, but in all the primary colors. So, purple, blue, cyan, green, yellow, orange, and red. So I can see myself making a nice, soft, rainbow skirt out of 7 strips of this fabric. Now, when I bought this fabric, their website only had this style in red, so I don't know if such colors, all the colors exist with this fabric, but it would be nice. I can only imagine, and maybe I'll be lucky and I'll find it somewhere. So here we are. We got the strip cut on the red fabric, something like that. Okay. That, all right. That's that piece. Now, here are the strips from the red fabric here. We take the rest of the red fabric and set it aside. Now we're going to take the orange fabric, or the light brown fabric. Let's see, I'm going to cut 2 strips out of this. Actually, that's interesting. Why was the corner? Yeah, let's see. There we are. Okay. Okay, this is the orange fabric here. So this is going to be cut the same width as the red fabric. Now it's going to be slightly different length. What I have to do is make sure that the total length of the folded orange fabric and folded orange fabric and the folded red fabric is long enough to be a leg, and I'm eyeballing it, and it should be. Now, if it isn't, I'll just add a 3rd piece on it. So, actually, you know what? I'm tempted, just for the fun of it, for a variety of color, is to make the center strip 3 pieces. Let's do that. So what we're going to do, we're going to make, let's see, let's go ahead. That's how we're going to do this now. Yeah, let's do this. We're going to only cut this. Okay, let's do this. Let's see, we grab this. We're going to cut, only going to cut about, 20 inches or so. What you're going to do is, this will be like the centerpiece of each leg. So we're just going to do a 24-inch piece. Then that will make 2 12-inch pieces, 1 for each leg. Then there'll be a 3rd piece of fabric of a different color for the remaining panel. So the center panel of the leg will be 3 different colors. Okay, let's do this, something like that. Okay. Now, darn, I made a mistake. It should have been 5 inches, not 6 inches. So, fine. Recut it down to 5 inches. Like that. Okay, now. Here is the one panel. throw this scrap away. Take the rest of the fabric, set it aside. Now, let's see. Now we're going to take, this is 10, 34, 24. That makes it right 22. I figured we start at 10-inch line, go to the 34-inch line. That's total of 34 minus 10 is 24. Half of that is 12. So 12 plus 10 is 22. So we're going to cut this in half on the 22-inch line like that. So now we have 2 of these pieces of fabric. And I just realized I should have serged them before I cut them, but oh well. Let's go ahead and serge them now. So we got to change cameras. And we got to change microphones. Something like that. Hope that works out. Now, working with this heavy fabric, this is where it comes in real handy to have an industrial serger and an industrial machine. When I started sewing, all I had was my domestic home sewing machine. Although that was a top-end Bernina, it was still a domestic machine, and I ended up breaking so many needles on each garment. Now the raincoats were the worst. I broke like 10 needles making one of my plastic raincoats. With the industrial machine, I've never broken a needle. Now this machine here, the 2 machines I have here in the studio now, I've had only for 5 years. However, my previous industrial machine, I had for 13 years, and I made a lot of very heavy, clear raincoats for friends of mine and auctions at the Radical Fairy gatherings, and made lots of clothing out of heavy fabrics, too many to count. And that was for 12 years. The same needle stayed in that machine for all 12 years until I sold the machine to a friend of mine. And for all I know, he still may be using the same needle in that machine. So, now, here we are just about done serging this one, so now we got 2 pieces of the orange fabric, which are now cut and serged. Now, for this fabric number 2, okay, so, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and cut this one now. By the way, if you are having any issues with the sound or the picture quality, please mention it in the chat line if you are on YouTube or Twitch. I'm watching the chat lines on YouTube or Twitch. If you have any comments or any issues, please let me know. So now we made a cut these in half, so the legs are going to look something like this, okay, but there'll be a third fabric for variety, or maybe a third fabric here. So now let's think about this. So let's come back over here. Whoa, okay, we got this beautiful green fabric, a little variety from red to green to tan. So let's try that. So I'm going to set these aside so they won't get cut accidentally like that. We're going to take this fabric and we're going to find the shortest edge, which is, let's see. get this one here. We don't need that long of pieces, so probably it's not much longer than that right there. So what you do, that. Okay, we grab the measuring, the ruler. We're going to do a straight edge at the base like this. And then 5 inches up from that. Find it right there. You cut the other edge like that. Then I'm going to cut it at the end to cut it from the rest of the fabric like that. Okay, so this can come off and be thrown away. That be taken, that can be thrown away. Now we take this, set it aside. Now, before I cut this in half, I remembered I'm going to go ahead and serge it. Just going back to the serger. Like that, all right. I'm only serging the long sides. I'm not serging the end. I'm going to try the experiment to try to secure the ends with the instant vinyl. That will save a fair amount of serging. And those are short pieces too, so perhaps they're not going to fray as much as the longer pieces do. Probably notice it as the camera picks it up. You saw some threads starting to fray off of the sides of this piece I have in the machine. Now this is an industrial serger. So notice how fast it can run. This is quite a bit faster than a domestic or home serger. Matter of fact, the industrial sewing machine can run even faster than what you just saw. I asked the dealer to set it internally so I cannot run it at the full speed, because I know that all of my work is fairly delicate and requires patience, and I cannot afford to run at full speed and make a mistake at full speed. Now, we're done the serging. Let's get this on. All right, here we are. We're now going to cut this in half, okay? So something like this, one side like that. That's one end. And we'll cut the other end, something like this. Okay, now let's think about what we're going to do here. Let's see, take, now do we want to do it with its color scheme like this? Okay, red, tan, and blue, something like that. Or how about something like this? So a little contour, a little excitement in the center of the leg. So red, blue, and tan, something like that. Or let's see, tan, see red, or do it this way, tan, red, and blue, something like that. So maybe top, middle, bottom, I don't know. I think I'd want the red at the top, middle, something like that, and the bottom. Let's see, how's that? Well, I'm at it. I've got to check something because we are still online. Everything looks okay. What's that? E-frame. Alrighty-o. So I think I'm going to settle with this. We have the really nice thing at the top, okay, and that's really long. Make that longer, something like that. Then the middle, the knee, where the most rare, we'll keep that as in this color. Then of course the bottom, the blue, that kind of accentuate the bottom. So let's do that. So we're gonna cut we have some extra on the red. That's okay. You can always find another use for it elsewhere. I'm going to cut the red off about here, like that. Now, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go to the sewing machine, sew them. Once I sew them, then I'm going to try to put the vinyl, the instant vinyl, on the ends to try to prevent it from fraying. So, let's go to the machine. Have a separate camera on the machine, which is, whoop, not that one. How about that? Now we have to go to the microphone that's on the camera. Hello, hello. All right, now, all right, that should be fine there. Now, you can see this is a Brother industrial sewing machine. Unfortunately, these webcams do not do justice. I'm trying to catch activity on the sewing machine, so you have to bear with it. I'm going to have to and sometimes the camera gets in the way, so I have to move it out of the way. Actually, I could probably, as you bring it closer, the problem is you begin not to see everything because of the angle of the vision, because of the camera is too high. I'm going to have to get another camera, a decent camera with a good telephoto lens. I can put it on a camera tripod that's not on the sewing table. You can't really you shouldn't have a camera that's on the table because it can get in the way. Matter of fact, this is starting to be in the way of the fabric. I'm just going to have to go with something like that. Allow a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now this machine has a feature, if you push your pedal backwards in the beginning, you're going to, foot comes up automatically, okay? We get a 1/2 inch seam allowance. You put the foot down. Now, the first time you press the foot forward, as if you're going to start, it'll do an automatic back and forth. Then you can stitch your seam like this, okay? And when you get to the end, okay? And let's see, one more, okay? Now, push the pedal backwards, you notice the foot comes up. This is where you can turn if you want to. If you push it backwards further, watch carefully what happens. See, go back and forth quickly to anchor the seam. Then there's a knife that cuts the thread. You're all set. Now, what we're going to do here, this is one of them here. Now we're going to do the next one, okay? Now we're doing both the good sides together. Now let's make sure the plants are more or less the same direction. Actually, no, I want them opposite, or do I? Let's see how that looks. Yeah, let's try that. I want them mirror images. Remember, on each side of the pants. So it's going to be mated here like this. So we're going to turn this around like that. I'm going to put that under the machine. Something like this. Put that under the machine and make sure that doesn't get caught under the machine like that. Make sure we get a half, oops, lined up. 1/2 inch, actually I'm going to allow more. Maybe more of like 5/8 seam allowance because this is very thick fabric. Okay, you start anchor, stitch right on down the width of the seam, and then the end of the anchor. Now, actually the anchors are set for 2. I'm going to raise them each to 3. All right, so now it comes time to do the lap seam. That's the double seam. It looks like this fabric is heavier, this fabric is heavier than this fabric, and this tends to fold first. You can see it's folded to my right or away from you. So that's what we're going to do for the fold, for the double seam. So now we're going to do the double seam maybe about 3/8 of an inch from the fold. Now, yes, I know your instructions in most sewing patterns have you press this with an iron before you stitch it. Industrial factories don't do that. They just learn to pull it apart like I am. And I very rarely use an iron unless it's something really special. So that's one right there. Now we can do the other one again with the fold pressed towards the orange fabric. So something like this. You lay another top seam. Okay. Something like that. Okay, that takes care of the red and the orange. Now it's time to do the green. Now if you look at the green, it doesn't seem to be a good side, okay? So I'm just going to take the green pieces like this, set it on top of the good side of the orange like this. And we're going to this now. Okay, that takes care of that. Okay, now. Okay, that's lined up. Okay, so we get that here. Okay, now on the green, now we have to, again, see which side. It looks like this time it wants to fold towards the green. Because the green is a lighter fabric than the tan. So we're going to let it go ahead and do that. As long as both sides of the pants are consistent. If you're folding down on the green on one side, you need to fold down on the green on the other side. That keeps the symmetry. That's one complete leg. Done now. One center of, not a complete leg, but that's the center of a leg. So let's do this. Okay, we're done sewing these. Let's show them to you. We're going to go ahead to the back to the camera on the cutting tape. Back to here, to this microphone. Okay. Well, now, these are, by the way, are spare. You get those out of the way. So here are the 3 center panels, okay? Okay, you get the red at the top, green, orange in the center, or the knee, and green in the bottom at the cuff. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn these over right now. Okay? As I said, I'm going to touch some of the instant vinyl here, 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 and here, and see if this will hold it from fraying. Now beware, this has got a very strong odor. Use this with decent ventilation. Just try not to breathe it. And I'm just going to glob the center of it. Because if it starts to fray here, it's not going to go beyond where it's glued. So let's try that. Okay, something like that. Okay. We did it on both of them. Okay, now this is going to take some time to dry, but we're not going to do anything with the rest of this session. Okay, so let's take these. We're going to have to set them aside for them to dry. So I'll be right back. Okay, now that takes care of the, let's see, that takes care of the center front. Now, let's see. This is some nice heavy kind of violet or purple pattern. Thinking of maybe this could be used for the outside. Let's see, maybe this and a combination. Well, let's see, we take a combination of maybe this, and this maybe. Now, they're quite different in weight. And that's going to be a challenge. But let's see, let's try that over that. That option, maybe to this combined with this, something like that for the outside. Or this one is velvet, kind of a velvet nap. That could be a possibility. I don't know. Let's see. This is. Well, let's see. That option or. Oh, now here is this one here. Now, think about this. Awfully heavy. I think because this would be a challenge thing, this would have to be an entire leg, say the entire back or the entire front of a pair of legs. Because to mosaic something onto this, well, I don't know. I can always do the risk of, what we could do is take this. And so we take this with the entire outside. And that's the thing. If it's outside, yeah, that's okay, because this is the back, so it won't, no, this is the front. So this will have pockets. That's going to be tricky when you're dealing with the pockets, especially if this meets the other pieces, okay? They may not want to use this unless I use it for the back. That might be a consideration to use this. Because it's so heavy, it'll be tricky to sew other pieces into it. We could use this as the back. And that being said, we could say take this, and maybe this for the front. Well, let's see. Because this, let's see, we got a blue, we got the front. The front is tricky because there's going to be pockets. So let's see, what other fabric do I have that would attract attention? Now we have this fabric here, which is a green and yellow pattern. Now the problem with this is I've gotten comments that this looks too much like government green. So I don't know, this would detract from something that's already a beautiful, heavy upholstery fabric. So let's set that one aside. Now what about, now we have this. Okay, so this is a sample. Now this is interesting. This is, now what can we see? This is, I'm going to show you on here. So let's see. All right, this fabric's interesting. If you look at this, It's a fairly busy piece of fabric for a variety of different things on this fabric. Okay, so do I want to have that? This is probably too busy to be the side of the front. This could be the center of the rear. But oh gee, I just realized I have not. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to throw this in the machine now to pre-wash it. Okay, and see what happens. Okay, but I probably won't be able to get to the back during this session. So I'll be right back. So hold on. All right, now we have this, which came from the other pants too. Now this is a Tapestry floral upholstery pattern. It's fairly heavy, but nowhere near as heavy as that brown floral pattern. Let's go ahead. And we're going to use, it's kind of busy, but nowhere near as busy as that stuff that I just tossed in the washer. So let's go ahead and use this for the sides of what I just did. Now this is going to be the outside. This would be right here. So let's go ahead and cut 2 long pieces of this one. And I think I pre-washed this. Although now I'm not 100% sure. Oh, damn it. You know what? To be safe, I know I'm going to forego that. I'm going to use this, because I know I pre-washed this. I don't know, I'm going to toss this in the machine right now. So, okay, now. All right, now I just realized, I know this one, this is a dark blue, navy blue. It's not as heavy as the others, which is probably just as well, because remember, the side of the front is going to have the pockets, going to be some detail. So, and I know this has been pre-washed, but you can see all the fraying that's happened at the edges. This has already been through the machine. So let's see, what are the sides? Okay, so I'm going to cut 2 pieces of this for the outside side. So go ahead And actually, although I'm having second thoughts. Wait a minute, now this is going to be. You know what? I changed my mind yet again. This is awfully plain. I'm going to use this, the diamond violet, which is this one. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to show this to you with a close-up. I know these darn cameras don't do any justice, but let's see, with the help, you can kind of see the pattern with this fabric. I'm going to use this. This is not as busy, and it shows the kind of theme of the entire front of the pants, which is all going to be patterned. This is too plain, so I'm going to go ahead and put this back where I found it. This I know I pre-washed, so that went to the machine. You can tell because it's all frayed right there. So let's go ahead. Okay, there's that. Okay, get that. Put that away. I'm going to put this one away. I'm not going to use that now. I could, let's see, I'm going to cut this like so. There may be ending up to be two pieces to the side. That's fine. Although now I don't know. I gotta, this is going to be fun because see, this pattern is this way. If you use this for the length, it looks too kind of stunted. So let's try, we're going to have to cut this. So that okay, so we got that. Okay, now, it has to be as long as the men's pants pattern unless I do two pieces on this one. You know what? Go ahead. We're gonna actually no. I'm gonna do two pieces just because I just. Okay, do this. We're gonna cut. Let's see, where's the cutting? There's the cutting edge right there. You'll find the roller cutter, which is under here. That out of the way, like that. Okay, so we're gonna do. Although, now I just realized if I do that, we're cutting along this. I'm just having second thoughts again. How the heck with it. So we're going to use two of these. Something like this. And we're going to cut we're going to cut this is all frayed, it's all scrapped. We're going to cut this. You probably can't see it. I guess you can barely see what I'm doing. Like that. this gets taken off. Right? Now these are gonna be the outside. So we're gonna have to cut these wide enough to go from here. And the panel's gonna be in the front. Hold on. I gotta get the other camera, which is that one there. Yeah. These are gonna have to be enough. The panels, the two strips are gonna be here and here. So it's gonna have to go from here all the way out to the middle seam. So I like to have more than enough. So I'm gonna do a 7-inch piece. There'll be some left over probably, but you always, it's easier when there's too much than there's too little. So let's see, I've got to go back here. All right, which microphone? I'm on the right microphone. Okay, so that should be that. So we're gonna go ahead, cut this. Like that. That goes all the way out. There. Get these, set those aside. And we take this. I know you can't see it. We're just going to cut the ends of the two pieces which are on top of each other like that. No, I didn't. All right, that. We take the remainder of the fabric and we put it away. Okay. Here are the pieces right here. Now, we're only going to serge one side of it now, because the other side will be cut when the panels are finally cut to the pattern. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll come back here. And now we only serge one side of it. We're not going to do any cuts in the middle of it, and we don't really need to serge at the top or the bottom yet, because that has to be recut when the entire panel is assembled and ready to be cut against the pattern. Now, that has to wait until two things. First of all, the glue has to dry on the center pieces. I just did a few minutes ago. And then once that's done, then we have to then sew the three components. The center panel that we made, this is the outside panel. I have yet to figure out what I'm going to do for the inside panel, which will contain the front of the crotch, which would be the fly on a normal pair of men's pants. I have not figured that out yet. It may be a pattern. So, let's do first thing first. And now, we've serged the side panels for the front. But we can't do anything with them yet because the center panels, the glue is probably most likely still drying. So let's kind of set these aside. We cut them. It's set to go. The ends have been cut off. So it looks like. Okay, now let's make sure. Yeah, that's that. Okay, now we fold these up. We're going to set them aside. Okay, now let's think about the center front. So let's see. Can the center front be that? That, okay, we gotta do this. Now, can the center front be this? Let's see, what else do I have? Or, well, what about this fabric? See, we have that. The part of mated with this. They're both fairly heavy, but this one, that one's gonna be tricky. How's that? That might be an interesting combination. Take this and this. That's a good question. Oh boy, that's. Well, you know what? This. We have this one now. Again, that's. Do I want to use that? That's too busy. Okay. Well, let's see. What's that one? What does it cover? Now we have this purple velvet. How would that behave? If that's the center, or we have the other one. Well, let's see this. I don't know if this has been machine washed. I'm going to skip this. Well, skip that one now. Let's see. Well, but now we have this velvet here. This is velvet now. Because this, we have plain center front with a crotch unless we combine it with something. Center front would be too busy for this one. So let's go ahead, set this aside. This could darn well be the entire back. Here. That might work. I don't know yet, but let's set it aside. But we have not used this one yet now. If we take this, now we might have something. We take this one here and this here with the center front. This and this, possibly. Let's do this. Look at that. So we're going to do maybe make the top maybe something like this, just a small amount, something like that with this, and the rest down to the entire leg. Or do we want it the other way, where we just have a small amount of this, and see, this will be the top and the rest of the leg? No, I'm going to keep the exciting stuff at the top, keep the dull stuff at the leg, and that will mean this is heavier than this. So this could be where the knees are. So let's do that. Okay. Let's set this aside and figure out which way to cut this to conserve. Can we cut it? Yeah, take these. This here. The two separate pieces here. Okay. Alright, and we can cut those. This has to be fairly wide. Now the front center, let's see. Front would have to go from, remember the strips are going to be here. Right there, so it's going to have to go from here all the way to the inside of the crotch. That's a good 8 or 9 inches minimum. Alright, now, let's see, where is the, oh, there they are. Alright, let's see now. I'm kind of a little frayed, kind of a little ripped right here. Make sure I get it right about there. I'm going to cut that on that line right there. Like that. Okay. Now, I'm going to cut, make it 8 inches. I think it should be enough. If it isn't, we always add more. So that's 6, 7, 8. That's 8 inches. This is 6 inch wide. Add 2 inches on the grid. So that's 8 inches from the edge. We cut this. Like that. And now we have the two top pieces here. This can be set aside. Okay, like that. Alright, that's those two pieces. We're going to cut the frayed end off here. Something like, you get it lined up on the side. You're going to cut something like this. Like that. Then we come up to about here. Cut that like that, there. Okay, now what we're going to do here, these are fairly long. So the right side, I guess now, is here. Okay, we're going to serge a side and an end, because this is too much for the glue. Okay, so, and actually these have got to be recut. It looks like cut wasn't quite right here. Now, following the grid, just touch up the cutting here. So we serge only one side because the other side will not be cut until the entire panel is cut to the pattern. So we're going to do this way to this way and this one, this way to this way and that one. The bottom edge, that's the one edge, would be with a belt. And the waistband, that won't be cut until we're done, plus it meets the pockets. So if this is going to be the top, we don't cut that, but we just cut the side and the bottom on each one. Now, is there any sort of symmetry issues with these? No, it looks like not. We can just go ahead with the way they are now. So, all right, now, That's one of them. Okay, that's one panel done. The other panel. Remember, this is the top of the inside of each side of the fronts, or each side of a pair of pants. Okay, so we're done with that now. All right, so here are the two front panels. I'm going to cut this end off here. Okay. All right, now, this is the top, okay? The velvet would go down here at the bottom, two velvet panels. Okay, so we're going to have to set these aside so I won't accidentally cut them. Okay, and let's see now. This and this is not, this may, okay, this is going to be like so. Now the question is that long enough? So I'm going to do a quick check with the pattern, because I may end up adding a third. You know what? The heck with it. I'm going to do a third piece here, just for sake. So I'm going to go ahead. This is now folded over. Something like this. Okay, cutting two pieces. Cutting one piece is folded. We're going to serge it, then cut the two pieces. And these have to be 8 inches wide. I almost blew it, making 6 inches. So these are 8 inches wide. Something like that. All right, here we are. Now we're going to serge one side and, actually one side and one end. So we're going to cut, first of all, cut this even on this end, like something like this. See, we don't cut both ends, the other end is going to be cut with the pattern. So here's that. Okay, so we're going to take the rest of the velvet and set it aside. And we're done with this for now. Okay, we put that over to here. Now, we're going to serge the two ends. We're going to serge this and this and all the way down one side. We only worry about one side for this, but the other side's going to be outside cut with the pattern. So, that one. Okay, now, two ends and one side serge on this. This would be the kind of the bottom of the leg. Let's see, we grab that, and we put that one to there. We're gonna fold this in half like this. Like that, right there. And we gotta cut this. Attention, cutting this half, we're creating two pieces. And remember, it doesn't matter if this side is serged, because this would be end of the pattern, something like this. So let's go ahead and cut that. Okay, that's the bottom of each leg. Okay, now what we have to do is figure out what do we want to do. Now this is going to be, let's see, what do we want to do here, right here? Let's get this so you can see it. So this is the top of the leg here. This would be something in the middle, close to the knee, and this is going to be the bottom. So we need a little variety. So let's see what we can do. Well, how about this? Now, this will create a little excitement here. The pink velvet. Now, that could be risky on thickness, but you know what? Why not? So, what I'm going to do, take these, get them out of the way. Okay, now we take this fabric. Now, there's such small pieces that even if this one's not pre-washed, it probably won't make much difference. So let's see. Actually, we don't. We'll do that. We're going to do. Oh boy, let's see. What we're going to do is cut out a piece, something like this, 8 inches wide, make two pieces out of it. Okay, so first of all, we gotta line up the outside. Be real careful. We just discovered a tear in this. This came from the rag finery here in Bellingham. So it came as scrap from either a fabric store or an upholsterer. Maybe an upholsterer who's going out of business. I don't know. So it's not brand new. Now, that's one side. Remember, we have to cut this 8 inches. So we go 2 inches up from there to about there. Because that does not have to be exact. As I said, if it's even 3/8 of an inch off, you're not going to notice it. Standing 10 feet away from me on the street. Okay, here we are. I'm going to cut now that down the end. Let's cut that off like this. All right, that's it for that. That aside, these are the two pieces here. We set the remainder of the velvet aside, but get rid of the strip. We don't need this. Set the rest of this aside. Now this is, what you do, you fold this over. Make two small pieces out of it. Fold it over. But so the pieces don't have to be much more than, say, that. So I'm going to do is cut the end straight. Something like that. Now, what I'm going to do now, I have to serve. Oops, that did not cut, darn it. How much did it cut? All right, now what I have to do, I'm going to serge both sides. Wait a minute, now, I got to think about this now. You know what, to avoid confusion, let's see. No, we serge both ends and one side. Okay, because then once we cut it, we have to serge the other end. But this is going to be a middle piece. So go ahead and do that. Serge, serge, and serge. And we're not going to serge this, but that's going to be the outside, or it's going to be part of the cut from the pattern. So over here. Now this is velvet. Sometimes velvet does strange things here. That's why I'm taking it slow. I'm not going to run this at full speed and get in trouble. And it looks like that. So far, it looks okay. All right, that done. Put this back over here. Now we're going to cut this in half. There's 20 to 39, that's 19. So 8.5, no, 9.5 to 9.5. So 20 plus 9.5 is 29.5 would be about the center. So what we're going to do is go straight down like that in the center. So these would be the two pieces. 1, 2. We're going to serge here and serge here. Put that in the serger again. Now remember, we're keeping one side not serged, but that's going to be cut when the final panel is cut against the pattern. Then the entire cut piece for the leg will be serged at once on the outside. So right now we're only serging the inside of each of the component parts of the piece. Okay, that. Okay, get that done now. Okay, now, here's what we got. Get that out of the way. I'm going to get here. Okay, let's get this organized so we can at least see what this is going to look like. Get this out of the way. Here. Okay, so this is the And by the way, the velvet has a right side and a wrong side. You gotta figure out which is which, or does it? That's what. Okay. Oops. Okay, that's that. So here's the top, and the top is going to be this. This is the right side of the top, like that. Okay, so that's the top. This is the middle. And this is the bottom. So this is what's going to be what's the inside of each leg. The front leg, the inside of each front leg. So this is the top here. So the belt would be out here. This is the center, probably around the knee. And this is the bottom of the leg. That's what it's going to look like. And right now, what time is it now? Oh my gosh, it's close to 8:30. Access Bellingham has this stupid limit. I don't know if it's an hour and a half to 2 hours on the video. We started at 7, it's 8:30 now. Just to be safe, yeah. Here and here. All right, well, just to be safe, I don't know what their stupid limit is in Access Bellingham. It could be an hour and a half, it could be 2 hours. So I'm going to stop here. We're leaving it here where we're going to, next thing we're going to stitch this, this, and this to create the center front. By that time, the front strip, the glue will be dry, so we're going to get the front together on the next session. Once the front's together, we set it aside and we start to think about the back. So, with that, getting awfully close to the half-hour point. And I don't know when, just keep your ears out. Email, Facebook, all the other trash. But if you miss it there, it will be on Access Bellingham Television. So, as always, I love you all.